Ahoy hoy gang, if this is your first time with us, welcome. If you're joining us in our previous video, hey, we'd love to see it, and I hope you're doing well. Hey, look at that. It's another video before the Family Guy long form video. Pow, gotta keep them wanting more. No, I was not planning to make a review of this series. I was ready to put it atop the ever-growing pile of whatever adult animated series I'd seen. And then, and I don't say this lightly, it mind-robbed me. It reached deep into my brain, made sweet love to the few riches it has, and made something that I would be hardwired to enjoy, dare I say, love. Yeah, no, spoilers, right here, right at the beginning of the review. Who cares? Not burying the lead on this one. The show is incredible. This is a celebration of a show that needs way, way more love. Am I stupid for saying that? Probably, but I know peak comedy when I see it. So, what worked? What failed? What Keith David power glove wielding will be curtailed? Don't let that smile turn to a frown. This is Strip Law Season 1, Stripped Down! He said the thing! Our pilot opens with our protagonist, Lincoln Gum, trying to fight for the rights of his client and prove once and for all that he did not throw up on that baby in that stroller. The client? An Austin Powers impersonator voiced by Tom Kenny, because he has to be in everything, even hoops. Lincoln would be played by the partying down, Pawnee saving, Adam Scott. He's up against his rival and former law partner of his mom, Steve Nichols, played by just some nobody I'm pretty sure the writers are just friends with. I mean, Keith David, really? Seems like a pseudonym. Who has two first names? Yeah, no, Keith frickin' David is here. Still an absolute vocal treasure. And one of the jury members is Sheila Flambe, who would become Lincoln's partner in crime, played by Abbott Elementary's Janelle James. Lincoln's law office would also include his niece Irene, played by Shannon Gisella, and Glenn, played by another made-up person, Stephen Root. What kind of last name is Root? That's a vegetable. I mean, really. This, jokes aside, this is a stacked cast. This is fantastic, and I'll admit it, I need to put more respect on Shannon Gisella's name, because Irene is a smash hit, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. We have to slow back down. The intro to the show is also just amazing. It's got that quick, chaotic energy that makes Las Vegas the wild and crazy place it used to be. The show as a whole is a celebration of the townies of Vegas. The people that are there 365 doing their most, and I just love it. Now, good writing tells you the setup of a series in the first couple scenes. Outstanding writing sets everything up even without you realizing it. Lincoln was fired from the firm that his mom ran alongside Steve Nichols after she died 6 months ago. He's been doing a new law firm that's hemorrhaging money, and so Glenn and Irene decide to get the debts they're owed so he's got a fighting chance. We see 4 key elements here. 1. Lincoln is still very much grieving and has been punched down on. He's not a bad lawyer, just not a good Vegas lawyer. 2. Glenn and Irene have a precious relationship that should never be infringed upon. Irene is a rebel who solves problems with violence, and Glenn is a disbarred attorney that does anything but play by the book. And yet, Glenn may do schemes, but he doesn't scheme against Irene. He cares about the girl and actively wants to make sure she doesn't make the same mistakes he did when he was her age. And you can parse all of that together within the first 10 minutes of the show. 3. They know this idea has been run into the ground. This is a parody of law shows that if you didn't give it a chance, you'd have no idea. The stripper commercial where they brag about the strippers being filthy pig boys that want to eat your keys for your entertainment? Priceless. 4. The animation is intentional. It saves money, sure, but there are scenes with so much movement, it's crazy. I can't believe how inventive this show is in seeing almost no talk about it. Even if you look at the IMDb for the show overall is sitting at like 5.4 out of 10, when the individual episodes are all scored at like an 8. People aren't giving it a chance, and they're missing out on the key fob munching. Sure enough, Lincoln has to go against Steve Nichols for the strippers, and he decides to spiral and drink his pain away. While walking the strip, he runs into Sheila and sees her street magic and realizes that's his missing element. He's missing the razzle-dazzle. They then go to party on a budget with the iconic Las Vegas anthem, Cleveland Rocks, playing in the background. Look, as a Midwest kid, I felt seen hearing that Drew Carey sweet sound, and while the show is definitely subversive, it's not subversive in a shallow, dumb way. Take Brickleberry or Paradise PD, for example. They'll say something like, "I can't pay because a cross-eyed monkey stole my rent," and then show you the cross-eyed monkey in question, but then telling you the monkey didn't do it. Subvert to subvert to subvert. It's dumb, but it's an easy way to get a laugh out of someone that isn't expecting it. It worked. Like it or not, those shows collectively got 7 seasons and whatever a Farzar is. That formula can work if done to an almost excessive degree. Do it too little and it's Hoops. Do it too much and it's mid-season Rick and Morty. Strip Law takes the entirely second path less traveled. Earnest subversion. Let's play a Vegas song. Someone else puts on Cleveland Rocks, and then they just go with it. There's no looking to the camera, no waiting for you to get it and laugh. They do it and move on. Strip Law respects your intelligence as a viewer and the integrity of its reality. Oh, Lunge Meat the stripper is also a magician? Oh look, Sheila talks with him at a strip club because they know each other, because we've already established it without saying it. Oh, Irene has to wear an underage blindfold when she's at strip clubs because she's not 21? They don't care if you don't notice it, but they're gonna keep referencing it until you get it. They're following their own rulebook when they write this series, and if you follow it, if you lock into the formula, I know this sounds insane, it sings. Because like, okay, I know it's gauche to explain a joke, but during the trial, Lincoln goes up to talk with one of the strippers, and they say they had to swallow a stripper's dozen of keys. You wanna guess how many keys are in a stripper's dozen? Baker's dozen? 13. A ham man's dozen? I have no idea. Probably 12. Don't even know what a ham man is. But a stripper's dozen? 34. 34 keys. Absurdly large, absolutely, but also a sex number. But you gotta think on it. Rule 34, if something exists, there's graphic things about it. Demonetization, slip and slide. You can laugh at the absurdity of how many keys it is, or you can ruminate on it and get that it's not just some random number and get a laugh out of it that you weren't expecting. That's the sign of a truly creative show. Each episode feeds into the next, the characters display growth, and the world of Vegas gets bigger by the scene. That's incredible. The episode ends with Lincoln beating Nichols and standing up proud for Strip Law. He said the name! The news calls out how the show doesn't make sense. We get a new commercial. The episode ends. If there was never another episode of the show, it would be perfectly contained in 25 minutes of adventure. You know exactly who each of the characters are without focusing on any of their surface level features. You have motivations, great jokes, solid animation, and joke writing that is way smarter than you were ever expecting from a show called Strip Law. It's just, yeah, it's great all around, and I've been talking about one episode for way too long. Finally, a show about lawyers is a key fob munching 10 out of 10. All right. Surely there's no way the show is going to maintain the momentum after such a dynamite first episode that could be perfectly contained within itself, right? Wrong! It's our holiday episode! It's Halloween in Las Vegas, and so naturally Lincoln has to go to court to prove his client is the real Santa Claus. On paper, that sounds so dumb. The execution, however, is flawless. Jim Rash plays the judge, and I mean, who doesn't love Jim Rash? Didn't mention it before because she was only around briefly, but Lincoln's mom would be played by the great Paget Brewster. Add in Keith David and you've got a Community trio, and that's not even all the actors from Community that show up here. I think they might be a fan. We also get the first appearance of Las Vegas's mayor, George Wallace, played by, you guessed it, stand-up legend and stand-up guy, George Wallace. It's a Christmas case on Halloween. How delightfully Community. How delightfully Franklin and Bash-esque. I love it. I love it. Even the intro has a Christmas Halloween overlay, and it's just the second episode. They're already being creative with the intro 2 episodes in. Delightful. Lincoln has to defend Mr. Crimmins, who believes he's the one true Santa, and Irene has to deal with the realization that Santa isn't real while researching the fake Santa. Look, if you found out Santa isn't real from a review of Strip Law, a Netflix original on YouTube from some no-name internet micro-celebrity who doesn't make any sense, just know I'm sorry. Also, I love Mike Milk, their rival lawyer. He's not a bad guy, just a tall guy, and that's great. He's also played by Carl Tart, who just does a fantastic job with him. And I mean, who can't love Mr. Crimmins? He is delightfully insane. He's so great. He just kicks holes in walls and ran up fake chimneys. Man, how does a show come up with something like Rupert Grint's Fraction Dungeon as a video game? How do you come up with that? What do you smoke? How do you make a reindeer fly with drones? It's so dumb in such a smart way, an ingenious way even. I love that one of the judges' outfits in this episode is just Finn from Adventure Time, 'cause why not? I also adore that Paul F. Tompkins is just some side characters in the episode alongside the other Santa. It's delightful. Sheila and Glenn go to prank Steve Nichols, Irene goes all grown-up millennial after being called a kid after a riveting Santa off, and Mr. Crimmins gives all of the jury what they always wanted for Christmas. Cold, hard cash. It's chaos like good early BoJack Horseman comedy writing. That Neil McBeal, the Navy SEAL level of quality. It's just, man, I really wish I had something negative to say. I guess it felt like Irene was kinda underutilized, maybe, but I think that was really just me wanting more Irene because her little side story was terrific. I don't know, really seemed to own every scene she was in. Comedy was sharp, music was fantastic, just another banger. Crypt Law presents Fearacle on 31st Day is a peyote enjoying, King Kong celebrating. 10 out of 10. Steve Nichols got a DUI, and so therefore he has to coach a youth basketball team, and Lincoln is determined to beat him at his own punishment game. Sheila steals a baby Bertram doll, and it runs around the office while Irene has to hunt it. Lincoln decides to be the coach for a group of homeschool kids since he too was homeschooled. Oh, and Glenn finds a slot machine perfectly tailored to him getting addicted to gambling. Alright, if there was ever a weak episode of the season, it would be this one. Is it bad? Oh, no. It's just very obviously a parody of the standard successful lawyer gets court ordered to spend time with children and learn life lessons archetype. Steve Nichols gets a diverse group of kids that teach him about life. Lincoln gets a beekeeper, a horse girl, and a bunch of cream corn and milk loving weirdos. Sure enough, the homeschool kids are horrible, and yeah, it's exactly how you'd expect it to play. See, okay, I can't be mad at this episode though, because I'm pretty sure in 40 years or sooner, I'm gonna end up being Glenn. saying things like, now this is pod racing, even though the thing I'm talking about is very much in fact not pod racing, having Waluigi run around on a game enticing you. I have tons of Waluigi shirts. I say this is pod racing about all kinds of things that aren't explicitly pod racing. Some may say this is a manic episode, but I can only hope and pray that you look at my previous videos for justification of these thoughts. I think Cullen Crawford, the creator of this show, somehow got into my brain and made a show that they knew I specifically would enjoy, not necessarily anyone else. Hello, Cullen, you little mind thief, you! I see you. Now, this isn't my biggest evidence, but when your wife turns and goes, hey, look, babe, it's you at the pod racing bit, and then sees the Waluigi bit and falls over laughing because it's just perfectly timed, then you could think he freaked your mind. But now, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone, and who smells toast? Why does that lamp look weird? Jokes aside, this is a fantastic breather episode where we learn about Lincoln being homeschooled, his weird relationship with his mother, and that Lincoln probably turned out the best he could for how he was raised. He could be so much worse. The episode is more just jokes on jokes on jokes, and the problem is they're just all delightfully hilarious. Milk and corn, the homeschooler delight. I will say, this episode converted me. When I saw the cast, I was like, oh wow, Keith David, love him. Stephen Root, I know he's gonna be absolutely delightful, but hey, I remember Praise Petey, so let's not get carried away. Adam Scott? What? Was it time for SAG 2s already? Man, I'm sure he'll read his lines like anyone else could. I don't know why I'm being so mean to Adam Scott, but I always thought his comedic delivery worked better in live action than animated. He's a very visual talent. And yet, I think it was just because he hadn't been in the right animated production yet. Love Inside Job, one of the best to ever do it. He was fine in it. But here? Oh, he shines. Oh, this is a career best performance for Adam Scott. He's not even doing anything that crazy. He's just being his most Adam Scott self. Everything just works. Also, I really, really love their Italian-Irish bar they keep going to, run by the delightful owner, Mr. Raviolio. Other fun note, I couldn't tell where I knew Lunchmeat from. He sounded so familiar and distant at the same time. And that's because he has experience as a magician because he's played by Drew Tarver, aka Randy from Bless the Hearts. Bless the Hearts review available right now alongside The Good Family. It is Randy, my babies! I'm rambling and pretty sure this episode review is longer than the last one because of it, but you're still watching, aren't you? That's right, you're along for this ride wherever it may go because you are a viewer on an adventure. Come with me on this journey. The Bad News Bapples is Homeschool Monsters beaten down 9 out of 10. You know what? Retroactive 10 out of 10. I kept thinking on the episode, and I can't even justify the 9 out of 10. I'm a hack fraud. Bad News Bapples, 10 out of 10. That's right. All right, on to the Glemtastrophe. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone is celebrating with Tim Burton-ass ice cream for their incredible win streak. That is until a judge wants to break a world record, so he wants to rush through all of his cases. Judge Bowman would be played by the legendary Gary Anthony Williams, who does have experience playing judges. He did play one on the incredible Boston Legal opposite Bill Shatner. Meanwhile, Glenn is reinstated as a lawyer, just in time to help a small town solve their water crisis that they just so happen to be making a documentary about. The town's water supply has been filled with the tap sinks of all the bars in Vegas, so everyone is constantly sauced and they need Glem. Yes, Glem. Also, Andy Daly is in the episode, and that's just, man, that's neat. I sure do like Andy Daly a whole lot. Everyone loves Pancakes Divorce. Pancakes. Watch review on Paramount Plus. You will thank me for it. Sheila and Lincoln don't have the time to do all the cases how they want, so they have to get more creative. This is a Glem episode. and Glenn is basically just Buck Strickland. And as we all know, I hate Buck Strickland, one of the worst characters King of the Hill review definitely available right now. So of course I hate anything Stephen Root has ever done, which is very apparent. I don't even know what an Office Space is. Yeah, no, the episode wouldn't be half as great without Stephen Root's outstanding performance. He's just fantastic, and seeing the relationship between Glenn and Irene is just art on paper. He really cares about her, and she's always looking out for him too. Glenn keeps screwing up and the town gets progressively worse, but he keeps getting closer to the right answer. Meanwhile, Lincoln and Sheila are spicing up their shows, and sure enough, things get so heated that they get freaky to celebrate. Which again, hate talking about just voice actors. No, I don't. But Janelle James is amazing as Sheila. She really brings the show together, and her delivery matches that of, again, greats like Root and David. I don't think anyone else could play Sheila as effectively. Like, when Glenn has his all is lost moment, Irene pulls him out of it by being genuinely grateful for everything he's done. Glenn then appeals the case and drinks 8 glasses of 120 proof liquor water and shows that he is just the utter worst to win, and it's amazing. The A and B stories are so unique, and yet both work at the same time. It's this perfect comedy marriage that just sings. It never goes too seriously and walks that fine line of what makes a great Stephen Root vehicle work. Stephen Root is just one of the greats, man. Glenn is a performance you've heard before, but he's just so dang earnest about being the worst person out there. Like, Andy Daly doesn't even have a real character that's shown all that much, and he's absolutely enchanting in this episode as the director. It's just, man, it's good TV. Glemtastrophe, Anatomy of a Glemaster is a robotic cow humping 10 out of 10. Magicians vs. Animals is the ultimate smackdown between the magic and the wild, and has a little case of animal endangerment on its hands. Lincoln is determined to shut down Magicians vs. Animals, and Sheila tries to talk him out of it. Sheila, of course, being a former member of the MVA group, right alongside, you guessed it, Lunchmeat. The B story has Glenn and Irene going to a visually interesting driving school to get their licenses. Now, did you guess the driving school is a 100% actor-simulated driving world? No, of course you didn't, because it's genius and insane at the same time, and if you came up with that, you should get your brain checked out. I can't. This show is just perfect. Like, on top of this Autoverse Mad Max that they set up, you have Sheila leading Lincoln on a wild goose chase so he doesn't find out that the animals never die, they just hide and eat $50 spaghetti dinners. Like, Mark Evan Jackson plays a few characters throughout the show, mostly in this episode, and it's so delightful hearing this very monotone actor having fun, doing creative voices that aren't just, my delivery is that I am flat, and that is when you laugh. Not that bored is from the Orville idea. He actually has a little bit of levity. I love it! And the plots of the episode are resolved in natural and believable ways. How do they stop the Mad Max Autoverse story? Glenn tells Irene that they need to actually try and get their real licenses because he wants to make sure that she has a bright future. No wacky hijinks stop them. Glenn caring about Irene did. Genuine love and compassion between the firm is just good to see. They're just so earnest, and we've seen how deep their relationships go this far into the show. Sure enough, in his concussed moment of need, Sheila comes to Lincoln's defense and shows that the animals live lavish lives instead of suffering painful deaths. How dare. It's absurd, it's genuine, it's Vegas. Which is really funny because I talked about the homeschooling episode, like if there was a bad episode, I actually think it might be this one. And it's not even that bad. It drags in parts, it has an idea that it's going for in this very neo-noir idea, but it is probably the one that trips on its feet the most. And I mean, even then, The People versus Magicians versus Animals is a Carnito blessed 8 out of 10. You ever wonder if the California Raisins could have sex appeal? Now you don't have to. It's time for the freaky as hell Nevada Hot Dates in real stop-motion animation. This show is a treasure. The Hot Dates have been a Nevada institution for decades, and now they're getting a rebrand. Vegas riots in the streets are ablaze with a good old-fashioned violence and a zesty car flipping or 12. So obviously this is the episode where everyone has to wear VR headsets and go through a workplace seminar with an amalgamation of all of the original Rat Pack members and their new co-worker, Kevin, the paralegal. And yeah, that's the episode. The gang goes through an HR seminar in a VR game where they have to navigate the tricky labyrinth that is professional workplace standards when every other client is trying to sue their Johnson. There's a whole bit where Irene shows off how cool it is to smoke cigarettes, and I was a mess, gasping for air. She said everything with such a confidence, and it was beautiful. Like, they addressed Lincoln and Sheila sleeping with each other and showed it was 100% above board. It's a clip episode that again was earned by all the episodes that came before it and using new clips as well. There's a plan to each of these episodes, and the roadmap they've shown you so far has been flawless. The flow is unrivaled, and we need to know exactly who these characters are for the next episode. This is build-up. And it really makes sense to have it right before our ascension. You see Sheila loving how strong and confident Irene is, how everyone likes Glenn, and how they all just inherently trust Lincoln. The writing and performances really make the friendships here feel genuine. There's a surprising amount of heart in this Vegas Rat Pack themed HRVR experience. If this was the third or fourth episode, it might feel rushed, but this really helps you believe that things are gonna be okay. That creativity is still alive. I mean, look at this incredible vocal cast. Adam Scott is funny. He's really and genuinely hilarious here. Janelle James is terrific. Obviously, Stephen Root is perfect. He's Stephen frickin' Root. But like Shannon Gisella, had no idea who she was before the show, and now I'm a fan. Irene is a character archetype I would usually hate. It's an archetype that, if it's not done perfectly, it just falls apart. Irene treads that fine line to become one of the best written characters and performances of the last year and a half. This episode was the first time I was truly upset I was running out of episodes of the show to enjoy. It's rare when you get to feel that. When you get to just tune everything else out and just experience something new. Strip Law is that kind of show that fits that perfectly oddly shaped hole in your heart. I dare say it's adult whimsy, because you have these freaky dates that if it were Brickleberry, they'd look like Go Anime characters, but here they took the time to make them actual stop motion. This is a realized series. There really is no fat to trim. Fat to trim in this review of the series? Absolutely. You saw how long my pilot review was, but the series as a whole has perfect cohesion. Even an episode like this serves an important purpose. They earned being shown as being close. This isn't emotional manipulation, this is a celebration of weirdos finding their community. Rocco Prosecco's virtual reality workplace seminar is a date-sucking 9 out of 10. Why do we try? Why do we wake up? Why do we ever try to push the proverbial boulder up the hill? We see the news. We see how bad things get each and every day. It always takes more and more to keep even the slightest smile on our faces. We steel ourselves to get through that daily grind, just hoping that the next day is better than the current. We feel unseen. And if people did see what we were going through, they'd mock us for being weak. This cycle of self-defeat spiraling further and further until we just don't know who we are at the end of the day without the stress and anxiety that we have to dredge through over and over again. And then you watch something like I Was a Teenage Lawbert. Then something fixes what you never thought was broken. I debated doing this review because I felt that if I earnestly talked about this show, this episode in particular, the people watching wouldn't understand just how funny it is to me. They'd think I was a fool or never worth watching, that my critical credentials were invalid. Because again, the reviews for this show are really non-existent. And it is heartbreaking to see that this is not getting any talk whatsoever. I was going to leave this show as something I watched and moved on from. A rare treasure I'd keep in my own chest. Then I saw this episode, and I was convinced, with zero evidence, the creators of this show stole my brain and made a show specifically for me. This episode sealed it. This episode sealed the show as one of the best shows, in general, I've ever seen. After the stripper from the first episode tries talking about the antiquated age of consent laws, which turns out he was upset they were way too low and needed to be higher, so no one needed to do anything in retrospect, but Lincoln, not knowing that, wants him edited out of their commercial and tells Sheila to rework the commercial to remove his 10 seconds. So she and Irene team up with Kevin, trying to keep the project on track. The B story has Lincoln going with Glenn to help with jury selection and seeing the madness that helps them get an edge. Irene proposes a mascot for the end of the commercial, and that is when the magic happens. Like, the B story is terrific. Patton Oswalt guest stars, and Keith David is phenomenal. If I had any criticisms whatsoever, it would be that it's another Glenn adventure. And yet there's only like 4 people in the office, so it makes sense that it would be Glenn taking the center stage. And it's not bad when he's setting up that little stage with the little bell and you don't know what he's doing it for, that he falls on and his teeth go everywhere. That's great. That is unapologetically hysterical. It's all good. And then we get to the commercial. Then we get to that first commercial. We get the whole reason the show should exist. Lawbert. Ba 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 ba. I'm lobbing it. He's God's favorite law baby. I laughed so hard I cried. The reshoots? They called me God's favorite law baby. I wonder which God they meant. I was laughing so hard my wife feared for my life. She was scared. She was genuinely worried for me because this little red bean with googly eyes was able to just tear away every fiber of my being and lay me bare. Sheila fights with Lawbert and they have a falling out because of course they do, and I love this episode. It's nonsense. It's pure unbridled nonsense, and that works entirely in its favor. Kevin goes crazy, they all blame Kevin, and Lawbert is immortalized in all of our hearts and helps the company take off even more. This is the best episode of the show. This is the best episode that I have seen of anything in the last 2 years. It hits a resonating frequency that keeps you laughing over and over again. You get Glenn and Lincoln bonding, and it's just perfect. I can't keep talking about this episode. You need to get it in your veins. You need all of this show, but especially I Was a Teenage Lawbert. I Was a Teenage Lawbert is a midnight bowling tournament winning 100 out of 10. If there was ever a come down episode, it would be this one. This episode is plagued by the cruel fact that it follows I Was a Teenage Lawbert. When a boy comes back from a near-death experience, he helps his dad run a megachurch and profess what you can find in heaven, and they vow to have him go to heaven again to come back with even more divine Snapple facts for their eager audience. His mom tries to divorce his dad so that he, doesn't die, and Sheila faces her supposedly conservative upbringing to save the day. Also, Cree Summers in this episode, and she's just absolutely delightful because she's always delightful. Tim Heidecker, Darcy Carden, Paget Brewster, stack cast, that's all I'm saying. Sheila has Irene try to get the Bible boy to reject the word of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ by being cool and showing him that drugs are cool. I love it so much. It's so dumb. Lincoln has to prove that Jesus isn't real and becomes popular for being an atheist lawyer, all because he wanted to be normal today. Glenn is also babysitting Kevin, and it's more of the same. It's weird, it's odd, it's great. He's trying to be his best Bart Simpson self, and he's a grown old man, and I am delighted by it. Lincoln doing a Reddit AMA as an atheist is just terrific. Like, the kid absolutely believes that his dad is horrible, but he also believes in his faith more than anything. He's just an overall good kid, or so you think. It's the best Facebook comment court case you've ever seen. One that you would only see written out like, oh, God was busy, so he gave me the power to punch you instead. Praise him. Like, yeah. And then the grandparents on Facebook clapped. It is what it is. But it's that surface level appreciation that makes it shine. They know it's super, super, super simple, and they're banking on it. That is the payoff for the joke, is that there is a very simple conflict, basically a God's not real situation, and it's just, it's perfect. It's just perfect. It's just like, oh look, the son is actually the one running the family behind the scenes and has been working in the shadows the entire time. Lincoln got played by a broccoli cut, and it's amazing. And then they gave us a live action trailer of the movie based off his godly vision. God does real. It's just perfect. Ken Marino and Tim Heidecker. Tim Heidecker as live action Lincoln is amazing. He is fantastic in this. I love me some Tim. 5 buckets of popcorn for this one. 10 buckets of popcorn even. It's just, And then they have Glenn as this like orange Mucinex monster who does his wonderful, catchphrase, hot clams. Everyone loves saying hot clams. It's just terrific. God doesn't even reel, everyone. God doesn't even reel. Sure enough, he tries to go to heaven again, and the kid doesn't come back. It may not be Lawbert, but it's still a fantastic episode. We Need to Talk About Heaven is a God Does Real premiering 9 out of 10. It's our penultimate episode! Naturally, it's an awards show, and we get the first introduction of the hit law duo Pringus and Bench, played by Joel McHale and Ikechukwu Ufomadu, respectively. Pringus and Bench, that sounds kind of like Franklin and Bash if you don't look too closely at it. That's crazy. Franklin and Bash is like 10 years old. There's no way they would be referencing a 3-season TNT lawyer dramedy starring comedy legend TV's Breckin Meyer, right? I mean, that's too niche. They're just buddy lawyers. They're parodying buddy lawyers. I'm reading too much into it. Think I just love me some Franklin and Bash, Hey, fun fact, did you know that Bo Billingsley, aka Jet from Cowboy Bebop, was in Franklin and Bash? Now you do. Hey! It's the Golden Gavel Awards, and Lincoln has to compete with Steve Nichols for the best tribute of his dead mom. Glenn has to escape a man trying to take him out, played by Johnny Knoxville, and Irene is there with her boyfriend and his puppet, voiced by the eternal and undying Weird Al Yankovic. He'll make a parody of the heat death of the universe, just you wait. It's a fantastic dumb parody of award shows. Want some incestuous twin lawyers? Sure, why not, I guess. Let's just be as absurd as possible. Irene and Sheila win an award for the great antics of the legendary Lawbert, and it's a glorious celebration of the season. Glenn is putting his life in danger dodging a duel so he can see his team win their awards and get their flowers. Lincoln gives an honest tribute to his mom, who is an outstanding lawyer and horrible parent, and throughout the entire episode you see Pringus and Bench judging this crazy town before Gumb and Flambe win the Law Firm of the Year award. Hard work paying off, and we saw it all happen. Man, that's actually really cool. You see them start, keep growing, ultimately succeed, win an award, complete a lot of their character growth, move on. No forced setbacks, no elements that just exist to pad time. each episode serving a purpose to get us to this moment where there's a certified payoff. Huh. That really makes this show good. It's a very rare gem. An odd gem in the crown of animated comedy. I'm kind of about it. The episode ends with Glenn being the duelist he always needed to be, awakening his inner monster yet again, and tragically, Patrick the Puppet gets astray, and we turn to the series finale of Pringus and Bench, coming up next. Trophy Son, or The Mother Wound, is a George Wallace and Lunchmeat hosted 9 out of 10.
The sharks! Season up big cheese, but when it's big boy time, can you play the right keys? Now you're in the big leagues, bumping with the big boys. Oh yeah! Running with the big dogs, buying all the big toys.
It's our season finale, and a series finale? Pringus and Bench are at their proud law firm run by a white-haired British man. Wait a second. It has 2 senior lawyers, and one is the implied nephew of the owner. Hang on now. And then they do a straight-up parody of the intro to the hit TNT law dramedy Franklin and Bash? Out of all the law shows to parody, you parody Franklin and Bash by making Pringus and Bench fight Gum and Flambe in the Battle of the Toilet 2. They have a bro hole where they fist bump through a hole between their desks and regularly drink Negronis. There's a robot named Filer. Why Franklin and Bash specifically? Why? You think I didn't want 10 seasons of the Kumail Nanjiani starring power show of the, I want to say, 10 p.m. time slot? Of course I did! But it's not Suits. It's not White Collar. They reference Rizzoli and Isles too. Like this. They're in my brain. They're in my brain and I want them out. You could have done anything. Could have done a Law & Order parody. But no, you did Franklin and Bash. Oddly specific of you. Anyway, the Toilet 2 is wiping people's memories, and Lincoln and Flambe are their usual selves, while Pringus and Bench are rocking their final case and trying to go out on a high note. Irene joins the rival law firm and wants to understand how they can be so lighthearted and full of whimsy. And it's really this great balance of, Gum and Flambe are a Netflix law firm. They can swear, they can do all this stuff. And Pringus and Bench are a parody of TNT procedurals. False ways of stretching out narrative. They are just, floating through life, making light jokes. Everything will end positively for them, or so they think. It is the perfect punch-up target. Like Pringus and Bench even invite Flambe and Gum to their bachelor party, not realizing they've already fallen under the absolute devastating might of Vegas lawyers. Tragically, Irene makes Filer fall on the owner of their law firm, and it devastates the perfectly upstanding Pringus and Bench. They go to their bachelor party that gets crashed, and now they're haunted by the drunken half memories of whatever Sweet Tomas told them about taking a life. I love that this is like, and that's what I say as Sweet Tomas. Who is Sweet Tomas? Don't you say that name. It's great. It's just great. The wedding gets called off, and sure enough, Irene commits mechromancy to bring back Filer as a mechanical monster. Lincoln goes straight up on stage to play Russian roulette to prove the risk of Toilet 2, and sure enough, they win. Pringus and Bench then proceed to wipe their memories like the losers they are. Glem evolves into the mighty four-armed Glemissimo, and that's a wrap on Strip Law Season 1. Will there be a Season 2? I have no idea. Do I want a second season? Desperately, because this finale set up exactly 0 loose ends to continue from. Strip Law ends with character growth, narrative development, and its cultural core perfectly intact. This was a perfect conclusion to one of the best animated series of all time. I did not stutter. Strip Law is a modern Harvey Birdman attorney at law, even realizing that spirit of Harvey better than Bird Girl could. It's its own thing. It's weird, dumb art that makes you feel whole, and it openly parodied Franklin and Bash. This isn't a lazy show. It's a blessed one. Finale, a show about lawyers, is a Negroni toasting 10 out of 10. And there we have it. That was my review of Strip Law Season 1, or the whole thing. We'll see. Who knows? It's part of the fun. Anything you think I was right on? Wrong on? What was your favorite episode? Least favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like what you saw, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell ya friends. We're out here. Strip Law was a show I didn't know I needed. It was a show I put on a whim and walked away a changed man. It was some of the sharpest writing in animated comedy in a very long time, and I guarantee if you sit and approach the show with an open mind and an even more open heart, you'll find something really truly special. Strip Law is perfect, and you don't have to agree with that sentiment, but I stand by it with my whole chest. Give it a chance. You won't regret it. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here at the Lecture Hall. And if you want to support the channel, consider joining our membership or Patreon programs today. $2 a month gets you your name on this super awesome fancy list of champions. They're all so awesome and cool. Thank you all so much for watching, and like always, stay strong, keep fighting that good fight, and know that I will always believe in you. I know I always talk about that rising tide, but to me, you all are the rising tide. Those of you that get to this part of the video or talk in the Discord or leave those incredible comments, you are that rising tide that makes all of this worth it. Don't think you aren't seen. You are. Don't think you aren't heard. You are. And your incredible kindness is felt in absolute magnitudes. I wouldn't be who I am without each and every one of you, and from the bottom of my heart on this very special April Fool's Day, I just want to thank you. We're turning the page on this channel, and while I have no idea what the future may hold, I have the best people to experience it with. Stay strong. Know that I'm proud of you, even if you just woke up today. You're doing great. Just keep pushing. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you all next time.